You know what I thought when I first saw humans? Pathetic. Absolutely, ridiculously pathetic. Their skin looked like wet paper, their bones seemed brittle as glass, and their technology? Well, let's just say my grandmother's cooking utensils were more advanced than their so-called spaceships. I am Vexkorthak of the Third Fleet, and I've conquered 47 star systems without breaking a sweat. My exoskeleton can deflect plasma bolts, my 4 arms can lift 2 tons each, and my species has been traveling between galaxies since these humans were still figuring out fire. So when Command told us to pacify Earth, I honestly expected to be done in time for second meal. The human colony ship we intercepted near Proxima Station was laughably primitive. Rust patches covered its hull like some kind of metallic disease, and the thing moved slower than a dying asteroid. When we boarded it, the humans inside didn't even try to fight back. They just surrendered. Handed over their weapons like obedient pets. This is it? I asked my second-in-command, Threll 9. This is the species that supposedly threatens galactic peace? Threll 9's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among our kind. Command must be getting paranoid in their old cycles. Look at them, Vex. They're shaking. And they were. 23 humans, huddled together in their pathetic excuse for a cargo bay, trembling like newborn grubs. Men, women, even some offspring. All of them looked ready to collapse from fear alone. Their leader, some gray-haired male named Captain Morris, kept stammering apologies in that ridiculous language of theirs, but then I noticed her. A human female, maybe 20 of their years, sitting apart from the others. While every other human cowered and wept, she just watched. Her brown hair fell in waves around her shoulders, and those strange blue eyes of hers tracked our every movement with uncomfortable intensity. Most peculiar of all? She wasn't afraid. Not even a little. What's your designation, human? I demanded, pointing one of my plasma rifles at her head. She looked up at me with those unsettling eyes and smiled. Actually smiled. Maya. Maya Sterling. You find something amusing about your situation, Maya Sterling? Oh, absolutely. Her voice carried this odd lightness, like she was discussing the weather instead of facing execution. You know what's funny? You actually think this is going well for you. Threll 9's exoskeleton bristled. Shall I silence this one, Commander? Not yet. Something about her confidence bothered me. Humans weren't supposed to be confident. They were supposed to be terrified, broken, easy to manage. Explain yourself, female. Maya Sterling stood up slowly, brushing dust off her simple clothing. Well, since you asked so nicely. You see, my friends here? She gestured toward the other humans. They're colonists. Farmers, engineers, teachers. Normal people just trying to find a new home. And you? Me? That smile widened. Oh, I'm something completely different. Before I could react, she moved. Not fast by our standards, but with a precision that caught me off guard. Her hand shot out, not toward a weapon, but toward a small device clipped to her belt. My plasma rifle tracked her movement, but she was already speaking into the device. This is Sterling. Package delivered. Execute Protocol 7. What package? I snarled, but even as the words left my throat, I felt the first tremor. The entire ship shuddered. Not from external impact, but from something happening deep in its structure. My superior hearing picked up sounds that shouldn't exist: metal bending, systems failing, something eating through the hull from the inside. Threll 9, report. My second-in-command was frantically checking his scanner. Commander, I'm reading massive structural failures throughout their vessel. It's like something is consuming the ship from within. Maya Sterling's laugh filled the cargo bay. Oh, this is the best part. See, you scanned our ship before boarding, right? Found all our weapons, all our defenses, cataloged every piece of technology. Of course we did, I snapped. Standard procedure. Standard procedure. She nodded approvingly. Very thorough. Very professional. Just one tiny problem with your scan. Another tremor, stronger this time. Through the viewport, I could see sections of the human ship's hull beginning to dissolve. Like acid was eating through it, but from the inside out. What did you do? I demanded. Me? Nothing. I'm just a passenger. But this ship? Maya gestured around the deteriorating vessel. This ship is something special. You see, when humans figured out we weren't alone in the universe, when we realized there were things out there bigger and stronger and more advanced than us, we had two choices. We could cry about it, or we could get creative. The floor beneath our feet started to buckle. Whatever was consuming the ship was getting closer. Commander, Threll9's voice carried a note of panic, our boarding tube is beginning to show stress fractures. Whatever this is, it's spreading to our ship. Impossible. Our hulls are immune to all known corrosives. Maya Sterling's expression shifted from amusement to something far more dangerous. Known corrosives, yes. But here's the thing about humans that you obviously didn't bother to research, we're really, really good at making new things. She reached into her pocket and pulled out what looked like a simple metal cylinder, no bigger than her thumb. This little beauty is called a hull nanite seed. Completely undetectable to your scans because, technically, it's not active until I trigger it. Once activated, it releases billions of microscopic machines that eat through any material they encounter. Metal, plastic, organic compounds, energy shields, doesn't matter. You're bluffing. Am I? She held up the cylinder. This is the delivery system. I activated it when you first boarded. Right now, trillions of nanites are converting your precious warship into their component atoms. In about 10 minutes, there won't be enough left of either vessel to fill a cargo container. The implications hit me like a plasma blast to the chest. You're killing yourself along with us. Oh no, Commander Vexkorthak of the Third Fleet. Her use of my full name stopped my heart's cold. How did she know that? I'm not dying today. See, while you were busy congratulating yourself on capturing a helpless human vessel, you missed something important. What? This isn't a colony ship. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Around us, the ship continued its controlled disintegration, but Maya Sterling stood calm in the center of it all, like she owned the very destruction surrounding us. Then what is it? Bait. That's when I heard them. Engines. Massive, powerful engines, approaching fast. Through the dissolving viewport, shapes began to emerge from what I had assumed was empty space. Ships. Dozens of them. Sleek, predatory vessels that had somehow remained completely invisible to our sensors. Stealth fleet, Maya explained casually. Human engineering at its finest. We've been tracking your movements for months, learning your patterns, studying your technology. When we heard about your plans for Earth, well, we decided to send you a message. This is impossible. Humans don't have stealth technology. We didn't. But you know what we do have? Determination. Stubbornness. And a really, really nasty habit of figuring out how to kill things that are trying to kill us. Her smile turned predatory. Turns out, when you threaten to wipe out someone's entire species, they get remarkably motivated to innovate. The human warships were surrounding us now, their weapons charging with energy signatures I didn't recognize. My own fleet was trapped, caught completely off guard by an enemy that shouldn't exist. How? The question came out as barely a whisper. How did we develop stealth technology years ahead of our projected timeline? How did we build these weapons? How did we set this trap? Maya shrugged. Same way humans do everything, Commander. We cheated. Explain. We studied every species you've conquered. Took their best ideas, improved them, combined them in ways no one expected. Your previous victims were very helpful, actually. Turns out, a lot of them weren't too happy about being enslaved. Amazing how cooperative conquered peoples can be when someone offers them a chance at revenge. The deck lurched beneath us as another section of hull dissolved away. My boarding party was beginning to panic, but there was nowhere to run. The Nanites had spread too far. You're insane, I told her. Probably. But here's the thing about humans that you really should have researched before coming after us. Maya Sterling stepped closer, and for the first time since I'd known fear, I felt it looking into those blue eyes. We're absolutely terrifying when you hurt someone we care about. We haven't harmed any humans. Haven't you? Her voice dropped to something cold and deadly. Kepler 442b. Ring any bells? My blood turned to ice. Kepler 442b. The human research station we'd neutralized 6 months ago. Completely off the books, a quick strike to eliminate what Command had called a potential threat. No survivors, no witnesses, no evidence. How do you know about that? Because one of the researchers was my sister. The words hit me harder than any weapon. This wasn't about territory or resources or galactic politics. This was personal. This was revenge. And humans, I was beginning to realize, took revenge very, very seriously. Maya reached for her communicator again. All ships, this is Sterling. Target confirmed. Execute Phase 2. Phase 2? I managed. Phase 2 is where things get really interesting, she said. See, destroying your fleet? That's just the opening act. The real show starts when my friends back home finish analyzing all the data we're about to collect from your ship's computers. The horrible truth began to dawn on me. This was never about stopping us. This was about learning from us. Now you're getting it. Every piece of technology on your ships, every tactical manual, every star chart, in about an hour, Earth will know everything your species knows. Your weapons, your defenses, the locations of your homeworlds, you can't. The data is encrypted. Maya Sterling's laugh was the most terrifying sound I'd ever heard. Commander, we're the species that invented the concept of hacking. Give us an hour with your computers, and we'll know things about your technology that you've forgotten. As if summoned by her words, the human fleet opened fire. But these weren't conventional weapons. These were something new, something that made my exoskeleton crawl with primal fear. The energy beams didn't just destroy, they consumed. Ship after ship in my fleet simply vanished, not exploded but somehow unmade. What are those weapons? Quantum disintegrators. Based on technology we reverse-engineered from a dozen different species. She was watching the destruction with professional interest. Funny thing about being considered primitive. People tend to leave their really good stuff lying around when they don't think you're smart enough to understand it. My flagship, the massive dreadnought that had conquered star systems, began to come apart at the molecular level. 2,000 of my finest warriors, gone in seconds. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Why not just kill me? Because, Commander Vexkorthak of the 3rd Fleet, Maya Sterling said, someone needs to survive to deliver a message. The dissolution of the ships around us was nearly complete. Soon, we'd be floating in space with nothing but emergency life support. The human fleet had positioned themselves to avoid the expanding cloud of Nanites, but they were close enough to watch every moment of our destruction. What message? Earth is no longer accepting applications for conquest. Her smile was sharp as a blade. Management regrets any inconvenience this may cause to your species' expansion plans. You want to know what's worse than facing your own death? Facing your own stupidity while you're dying. As the Nanites finished consuming the last of our ships, leaving nothing but floating debris and emergency life pods, I had plenty of time to think about just how monumentally we'd miscalculated. Maya Sterling stood beside me in the emergency pod we'd managed to scramble into, completely relaxed as if she took rides in failing life support systems every day. Through the small viewport, I could see the human fleet maintaining perfect formation around us. Not aggressive, not threatening. Just watching. Comfortable? She asked, settling into one of the crash seats like she owned the place. Your life support won't last long enough to reach any inhabited system, I pointed out, trying to salvage some dignity from this disaster. Oh, you sweet, naive alien. Maya tapped a control panel, and the pod systems immediately improved. Cleaner air, better temperature regulation, enhanced power. Readings. Did you really think we'd trap ourselves in a death box without an exit strategy? Of course they'd modified the escape pods. Of course they had. How long have you been planning this? Which part? The Nanite trap? The stealth fleet? Or the complete humiliation of your entire military doctrine? She checked her chronometer. About 18 months for the specific operation. But honestly, we've been preparing for something like this since we figured out we weren't alone in the universe. Threll 9, who'd managed to squeeze his bulk into the pod with us, finally found his voice. This violates every known law of warfare. Disguising military vessels as civilian ships, using Nanite weapons, attacking without formal declaration, Maya burst into laughter. Oh, that's rich. You're lecturing us about laws of warfare? What law covers wiping out research stations full of scientists? What treaty allows enslaving entire species? That's different. We follow proper conquest protocols. Proper conquest protocols. She shook her head. You know what your proper protocols are? Bullying. You find someone weaker than you, beat them up, and take their stuff. Then you write fancy rules about how that makes it okay. Through the pod's communication system, we could hear chatter from the human fleet. Calm, professional voices reporting status updates, target acquisitions, tactical assessments. They sounded like they'd done this 1,000 times before. Impossible, I muttered. Your species has barely achieved interstellar travel. You can't have this level of military experience. You're right. We can't. But you know what we can do? Maya pulled out a small tablet and showed me the screen. We can learn really, really fast. The display showed tactical data from hundreds of engagements. Ship movements, weapon effectiveness, casualty reports. But not human casualties. These were battles involving dozens of different species, spanning decades of conflicts. Where did you get this? Your previous victims. Turns out, when you conquer a species, some of them escape. Some of them hide. Some of them spend years planning revenge and looking for allies. She scrolled through more data. Amazing how much tactical intelligence a motivated refugee can provide. The Altarian resistance died out 50 years ago. Did it? Or did it just get really good at hiding? Maya's smile was becoming familiar, and I was learning to fear it. See, that's another thing you never bothered to research about humans. We're really good at making friends with people who hate the same things we hate. The implications were staggering. You've been in contact with resistance movements throughout our territory. Contact? Oh, Commander. We've been doing so much more than that. She tapped the tablet again, and new information appeared. Supply routes, safe houses, weapons caches. We've been organizing them. That's impossible. Our intelligence networks would have detected large-scale resistance coordination. Would they? Tell me, how often do your intelligence services investigate humans? How much attention do you pay to a species you've written off as harmless? The answer, of course, was none. Why would we waste resources monitoring primitive primates when there were real threats to consider? But that attitude was starting to feel like the greatest strategic blunder in our species' history. Phoenix Base, this is Sterling. Maya spoke into her communicator. Package delivery confirmed. Requesting extraction for intelligence assets. Confirmed, Sterling. Vector 77 Mark IV. ETA 12 minutes. I looked out the viewport and saw something that made my remaining heart stop. One of the human vessels was approaching our pod, but as it got closer, I could see it wasn't entirely human construction. The hull design was familiar. That's an Altarian scout ship. Was an Altarian scout ship. Now it's part of the Earth Resistance Fleet. Maya followed my gaze. Beautiful work, isn't it? Altarian stealth systems, Zephyrian weapons, Terran targeting computers, and a few surprises we cooked up ourselves. You're building a coalition. Built. Past tense. We're not just fighting you, Commander. We're leading the largest resistance movement in galactic history. Every species you've conquered, every world you've enslaved, every people you've scattered to the stellar winds. They're all part of this now. The scout ship docked with our pod with mechanical precision. Through the airlock window, I could see figures in environmental suits waiting to board. But they weren't all human. Different heights, different proportions, different species entirely. How many? I asked. How many species? How many ships? How many warriors eager to pay back years of oppression? Maya stood as the airlock cycled open. Let's just say you're going to need a bigger fleet. The boarding party entered, and I found myself face to face with representatives of a dozen species I'd thought extinct. An Altarian female with the characteristic silver skin and extra arms. A massive Corvin whose people we'd supposedly wiped out completely. Even a wisp, those ethereal energy beings we'd driven from their dimensional home. Commander Vexkorthak, Maya said formally, I'd like you to meet the Leadership Council of the Free Worlds Alliance. Free Worlds Alliance? Threll9's voice cracked. Catchy name, right? We workshopped it for weeks. Maya gestured to our captors as they secured us with restraints that definitely weren't human in origin. Turns out, when you give oppressed peoples hope and resources, they get remarkably creative about finding ways to hurt their oppressors. The Altarian woman stepped forward. I am Admiral Kayla Turn. My homeworld remembers the day your ships blotted out our sun. Impossible. All Altarian military commanders were eliminated. All known military commanders. Her smile was cold as space. But you never found the children who watched their parents die. You never found the engineers who rebuilt our fleet from scrap. You never found the pilots who spent decades planning this moment. As they escorted us through the ship, I saw impossible things. Weapons that combine technologies from multiple species. Tactical displays showing real-time intelligence from across our territory. Maps of our most secret installations, complete with defensive specifications. How do you have this information? Maya exchanged glances with Admiral Kayla Turn. Show him. They led us to the ship's communication center, where a massive holographic display showed the galaxy from a perspective I'd never seen before. Our territory was marked in red, but it was shot through with green lines and nodes. Resistance networks, Admiral Kayla Turn explained. Every slave world, every occupied system, every place your people thought they'd stamped out hope forever. But this shows active resistance on hundreds of worlds. Our intelligence reports show no significant opposition. Your intelligence services see what we want them to see. Maya activated another display. Meet the Information Warfare Division of the Free Worlds Alliance. Also known as, humans who got really, really angry about being lied to. The new display showed falsified reports, planted intelligence, and systematic disinformation campaigns that had been feeding our command structure fake data for months. Everything we thought we knew about resistance activities was wrong. Everything we believed about our security was fiction. You've been blind for years, the Corvin warrior rumbled in a voice like grinding stone. Fighting shadows while we rebuilt in the darkness. This level of coordination would require faster-than-light communication across thousands of systems. Would it? Maya pulled up yet another display. Or would it just require some humans who got really motivated to solve the FTL communication problem? The technical specifications that appeared made my brain hurt. Quantum entanglement networks, dimensional relay stations, communication methods that made our best technology look like smoke signals. We couldn't develop this in 100 years. You couldn't. But you're not human. Maya's expression turned serious. See, that's the thing you never understood about us. When someone threatens our family, our friends, our species, we don't just get angry. We get innovative. We get collaborative. We get results. Admiral Kalaturn activated a new section of the display. Terra Base, this is Mobile Command 7. Status Report. Mobile Command 7, this is Terra Base. The voice that responded was human, but the accent was unfamiliar. Operation Clean Sweep is proceeding ahead of schedule. 47 installations have been liberated, and resistance forces report minimal casualties. Liberated? I stared at the display in horror. Oh, did I forget to mention? Maya checked her chronometer again. While we were having our little chat, every resistance cell in your territory just went active simultaneously. Slave camps, mining operations, military installations, they're all being hit at the same time. Impossible. We have over 1,000 installations. You can't coordinate that level of, Commander, Threll 9 interrupted, pointing at the tactical display with one shaking claw. Look at the numbers. The display showed real-time updates from across our territory. Installation after installation going dark. Slave populations being evacuated. Military units reporting overwhelming resistance. In 3 hours, we'd lost more territory than in any conflict in our species' history. How? Humans, Admiral Kalaturn said simply. They taught us that the key to defeating a superior enemy isn't to fight them on their terms. It's to change the terms of the fight entirely. Maya nodded. We didn't try to match your technology or your numbers. Instead, we gave everyone you oppressed the tools they needed to free themselves. Weapons, intelligence, coordination, hope. Turns out, motivated people fighting for their freedom are really hard to stop. Terra Base, additional update, came another voice over the comm system. The Hegemony Senate has just received formal declarations of independence from 312 member worlds. They're requesting immediate recognition and alliance membership. Senate worlds are revolting? I couldn't process it. Our member species were loyal, content with the prosperity we'd brought them. Were they loyal? Or were they just waiting for an opportunity? Maya asked. Funny thing about ruling through fear. The moment people stop being afraid, they remember how much they hate you. The ship shuddered slightly as we docked with something much larger. Through the viewport, I could see a massive structure that defied easy classification. Part space station, part shipyard, part fortress. Welcome to Phoenix Base, Maya announced. The mobile headquarters of the Free Worlds Alliance. Also, the place where we're going to have a very important conversation about your species' future. You can't expect us to surrender our entire civilization. Surrender? Oh, Commander. You're still not getting it. Maya stood as the airlock finished cycling. We're not asking for your surrender. We're informing you that your empire is over. The only question now is how much of your species survives the transition. As they led us into Phoenix Base, I saw the scope of what humanity had built. Massive factories producing ships and weapons for dozens of different species. Training facilities where former slaves learned to use captured technology. Command centers coordinating operations across half the galaxy. How long? I asked. How long have you been building this? Since the day you made your first mistake, Maya replied. The day you decided that humans weren't worth taking seriously. And what was our second mistake? Maya Sterling stopped walking and turned to face me. Her blue eyes held something I'd never seen before in any species, absolute certainty of victory. You hurt my sister. In that moment, looking into those human eyes, I finally understood what we'd really done. We hadn't attacked a primitive species. We'd declared war on the most dangerous thing in the universe, a human being who'd lost someone they loved, and we were going to lose.